everybody. What's up, everybody? This is Tony Vanchelle with the Stronger You Fitness, ASU Fit, and the Becoming a Stronger You movement. Happy Monday. I hope your week is starting off super awesome. Hey Linda, how are you? If you are here with me this afternoon in Facebook land, if you could please hop in and say hi. Let me know who you are and where you are watching from, especially if I have not met you. And if I have already met you before, it is still an awesome experience to be able to interact with you here. So I am super excited about this week's topic because this is a topic that a lot of women have been asking me to discuss. So I am really excited. This week is all about back fat. Upper back fat, lower back fat, what's going on with the side of your back fat, why you've got back fat, what you can do about it, and all things having to do with back fat. Now we're going to talk a little bit about legs this week, only because last week I had a couple of questions from some ladies about what to do with legs, and next week's series I already have planned, and I'll tell you what that's about next week. So I didn't want to take up next week to talk about legs. So we will talk about legs a little bit this week, but for the most part it is all about back fat. So let's go ahead and pull out the pink folder. We all know when the pink folder comes out, then the knowledge is coming in. So let's go over this week's agenda. Okay, so today we are going to be discussing why you have underbra fat. Hey Tamisha, how are you? Thank you for joining me this morning. We are going to be discussing why you have underbra back fat and what you can do about it. That's today's topic. Tomorrow is why you have lower back fat and what you can do about it. On Wednesday, I am going to be talking about the power of deadlifting. And so we're going to go over some different forms of the deadlift and really examine that particular exercise and how that can help you with your back fat as well as your abs as well, but primarily with your back fat. On Thursday, we are going to be talking about yoga and Pilates and how you can incorporate those into your lifestyle to help you with that back fat, especially the underbra fat, and why, if you have not already been doing so, why it's important for you to include those in your routine if you are trying to fight back fat. So that's going to be on Thursday. And then on Friday, 5 Tips Friday, I will be giving you 5 tips that you can implement immediately to help you get rid of your back fat. So that's going to be your underbra fat, your side back fat, left side, right side, lower back, all about back fat this week. So I hope you are excited, and if you have any other friends or colleagues or anybody who you think could utilize this information, please like, share, subscribe. Definitely share this video so that everybody can get those questions answered. Okay, so our topic today, why you have underbra fat and what you can do about it. So number one, underbra fat, the upper back fat, is an indicator that your insulin is not being triggered properly after your meals. What's supposed to happen is when you take in a meal, your pancreas is supposed to release insulin, and that insulin is supposed to help manage or bring down your blood sugar after a meal. If you have been having negative eating habits, meaning that you have been eating way too much refined foods, which spike your blood sugar, you have been eating way too many sugars, which also spike up your blood sugar, you've been having way too many unbalanced meals, which also will spike up your blood sugar, then you must understand that your pancreas is just like any other machine. And so if you have a flashlight, I'll give you an example. If you have a flashlight that you use in your home, and that flashlight is only supposed to be used for certain situations. However, you get home and you cut that flashlight on and you never turn it off. What's going to happen is eventually the bulb is going to go out and you're going to have to change the bulb. Now, the issue with this is that you can only change the bulb so many times before the actual flashlight itself stops working because it's not being used properly. And that's the same thing that happens with your insulin release. So if you are consistently having these meals that are unbalanced, you are consistently having these meals that are really, really high in sugar, you are consistently having these meals that are really high in refined foods, then you are overworking that particular organ. And so what happens is it starts to not become as efficient as it should be when it's time to trigger for insulin release. Hey, Miss Nifa, thank you so much for joining me. So what would happen is you may get the signal too early, you may get the signal too late, you may get too much insulin, you may not get enough insulin. But the bottom line is that upper back fat, that underbra fat that most women talk about, because it's really upper back fat, and I'll tell you why it turns into underbra fat. But it is an indicator that there is an issue with the efficiency of your insulin release. And so what you should do as part of your checkup with your general practitioner, which is probably something that you are already doing, but if you are not, then it's definitely something that you need to incorporate. You need to meet with your general practitioner and have a full workup and make sure that you are not becoming a pre-diabetic, or to make sure that you are not already a pre-diabetic. Okay? So insulin release, or the lack thereof, lack of the efficiency of the insulin release, contributes to that upper back fat. So that's the first reason, okay? The second reason could be poor posture. So one of the things that I work with people on all the time is, I tell people, and my clients as well, I tell them shoulders back, relax your shoulders, chest to the sky, okay? This is proper posture. Now, for a lot of people, this sitting position that I'm in right now, walking and standing and talking and breathing in this position, is hard work. And it's hard work because you become so accustomed to doing this, because this is very comfortable. It doesn't take a lot of work. It doesn't take a lot of energy. It doesn't take a lot of thought on your part. Whereas this, which is proper posture, which is good for the abdominals, opens up the lungs, gets you all that good oxygen, shoulders are rolled back, chest is nice and high, everything is pointed to the sky. This actually takes work because you're not used to it. The problem is, after so many years of being in bad posture doing this, if you sit at your desk like this, and sitting here, you can't really tell that I'm in bad posture. But if I turn to the side, you can now see that my back is a little bit hunched over. Whereas when I fix my posture, this is what I look like. So this is what I sit like in my chair a lot of times, but this is what's more comfortable. And the problem is, when you've done this for so long and you've had this bad posture, then you develop some strong chest muscles in here, but then the upper back muscles become lazy. And anytime you have a muscle group that becomes lazy, it means that it's not working, so the muscles are not being developed, which means that there's more of a likelihood that fat is going to accumulate there. Thank you so much for those hearts, by the way, whoever that was. I couldn't see who that was. But it's more likely that fat is going to accumulate in that area. And so one of the things that you definitely should be doing, not just for your underbra fat, but for your abdominals and for your breathing as well, is to make sure that you are constantly checking your posture. And it does take some thought and it does take some work. But after a period of time, it becomes second nature. And what will happen is, oh, thank you so much. I'm glad that this is helping you. So what happens is, when you implement these good posture techniques, hey Misha, thank you so much for joining me. When you implement these posture techniques, then after a while, when you sit like this, you won't feel comfortable anymore. Like right now, when I sit like this, it's harder for me to breathe because I'm no longer accustomed to this. It says, Desislava, I hope I'm saying that right. Desislava says, I keep reminding myself throughout the day to check my posture. I think it all starts with self-awareness and it gets easier with time. Absolutely. It is self-awareness. It is all about self-awareness. And so Oh, thank you, Misha. I'm glad this is helping you too. Yes, this is all about self-awareness, because I don't think that we understand how many other parts of our body is affected or are affected by bad posture. Thanks so much for sharing, Misha. Okay, so this affects your abdominals. This affects your ability to take in oxygen. And hey, Barbara, and understand that if I'm gonna do a video, probably, well, maybe not next week, but I think the week after, where I'm actually going to break down to you what happens to fat when it's burned. And in that breakdown, you're going to understand how important oxygen is to the fat burning process. And I think once you understand that, it'll be a lot more easier for you to maintain that self-awareness so that you can fix that posture. Thank you, Lan. Thank you so much for joining. So that you can maintain that posture, okay? But understand that if this is you all day, you will quickly develop that underbra fat because, oh, thank you, Consuela. You will quickly develop that underbra fat because as these muscles get stronger, because my back muscles are not working, my upper back muscles are not working, they're getting lazy, and I'm telling my body that it's okay to accumulate fat in that area. Go ahead and put some fat there, because you know what? I don't really use that much anyway. That's literally what you're telling your body, okay? So number 2, make sure that you are paying attention to your posture, okay? Number 3, ladies, I know that, especially for those of us who have had kids, I have 4 children and I breastfed all 4 of my kids. And sometimes when you breastfeed, things move, right? So our breasts are not as perky as they are. And so we start buying push-up bras and we start buying all of these different undergarments because we're trying to push our boobs up. Because society has sexualized, awesome, Misha, because society has sexualized the woman's breasts, not understanding that the breasts are functional. They're not only sexual. And so because we live in a society where our breasts have been sexualized, we tend to compensate for that after breastfeeding by buying these really, really, really tight bras and these really, really, really tight undergarments. I am doing well today, Tyra. Thank you so much for joining me today. So that we can push our breasts up. The problem with that is your body will shape the way you shape it. And let me explain to you what I mean. If you have ever seen somebody who is really overweight and they wear the pants with the really tight belts, and then they develop that dip in the stomach where it almost looks like there's 2 different stomachs because they're always wearing their pants tight and they're always wearing their belts tight, right? Okay. Your body will shape the way that you shape it. And so if you are wearing this push-up bra 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, for those of us who work those kinds of hours, oh, you're welcome, Tyra. Thank you so much for joining me. For those of us who work those kinds of hours, then you have to understand that your back, that upper back area, is being deprived of oxygen and lymph and blood for 10, 12 hours a day. Because the tighter it is, the more the circulation is being cut off. And so what happens is, for so many years, you will sacrifice your back in the interest of pushing up your boobs. Not understanding that if you continue that behavior, then over time, what will happen is you will develop a crease in that area. And then in comes the back fat. So now you've got 2 separate places. And so you got to see it sort of as you've built a bridge. You've cut your back into 2 pieces and you built a bridge between the 2, and they can't come together, right? And so the blood vessels and the lymphatic system in that area are not getting proper oxygen. They're compressed, And so you're cutting off the circulation, you're cutting off the flow of nutrients, and now you have this additional back fat because of your bra. I actually have, which it's starting to go away now, but it was really, really bad. I actually have discoloration in my back. So even now when I take off my sports bra, it's not as bad as it used to be. But if I take off my sports bra, if you look really, really closely, you could see the discoloration. It almost looks like there's a sports bra in my back. Because even after I stopped wearing the push-up bras, I wanted my boobs to sit way up here when I was in the gym. And so I wore really, really, really tight sports bras. And so you can almost see, if you look really closely, that there is like, it almost looks like there's a sports bra in my back because of that habit that I developed a long time ago. You understand what I'm saying? And so the problem is, when you start that habit, it takes a while for your body to recover from that. So understand that if you come from a history of wearing bras that are too tight, wearing bras that are too small in the interest of pushing up your boobs, then it's going to take a while. Even after you begin an exercise protocol, it's going to take some time to decompress those blood vessels and to decompress the lymphatic system in that area and to decompress those tissues so that everything can start to flow smoothly again. So that's one thing that you want to keep in mind, okay? And number 4, you may have excess underbra fat because you have excess fat, period. I know that doesn't always make everybody happy when I say things like that, but it's the truth. Hey Tesnisha, thank you for joining me. Physiologically, when a woman, right, Tyra? Thank you, Consuela. Theoretically, when a woman gains excess fat, that's what I'm going to get right to that, Lynn. Thank you for asking that question. Hey, Tesnisha. Physiologically, when a woman gains extra fat, we typically will gain fat in the abdominal section, the hips, the thighs, and the buttocks, because all of these areas have to do with childbearing and making sure that you can conserve resources for you and the baby or any future children and things of that nature, okay? At the point at which you have back fat, what this means is that your body fat has become so excessive, even if you are small, that it's now finding other places to be. Oh, you know what? There's one more issue that I did not write down that I'm actually going to drop in here because I don't know who's had it, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there and tell the truth. But let me finish up on this point really quickly. If you have excess fat, you will have excess fat everywhere. And so when I have people who ask me questions like, well, I just want to get rid of my back fat, and I'm looking at them and I say, well, no, you need to get rid of your fat everywhere. Sometimes, no problem, sometimes people get offended, but it's the truth. You may have excess back fat and underbra fat because you just have too much fat. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and move on from that and just kind of let you think about that and you know, marinate on that a little bit. Okay, so this next point I didn't write down, but it just dropped in my head. If you have had any type of liposuction, if you have had liposuction in the thighs, in the buttocks, in the abdominal area, you must understand that each person is designated to have a certain, she says, Stu, baby. Each person is designated to have a certain number of fat cells. Now, I may have more fat cells than you do. You may have more fat cells than somebody else that you are related to. But we all have a number of fat cells. And no matter how you try to get around paying the piper will always be paid. What am I saying? What I'm saying is that when you have liposuction and they suck the fat out of one area, you are supposed to have a certain number of fat cells. So when it comes back, it might not come back to that area, but it will come back to another area. And two of the most popular areas that those fat cells return to are the knees and the back area. So I'm going to go ahead and say this. Whenever you see somebody who has a really, really flat stomach and fat knees, yeah, liposuction. Just telling the truth. So for any women who are considering that procedure, which, and don't get me wrong, I don't have an issue with surgical procedures. Tyra. I don't have an issue with surgical procedures. I have an issue when surgical procedures are used because people don't want to do the work. That's right. You're absolutely right, Tyra. That's the issue that I have. When people have surgical procedures because they don't want to do the work. Now, I've had clients who have had children in their older years. And so at a certain point, once we're tightening and we're firming and we're shaping everything, there's some skin and there's a couple of different areas. And so in those situations, they may have to have a couple of things done. But the work has been done and the work is continuing to be done. You understand what I'm saying? Understand that if you opt for these procedures, the fat is going to come back somewhere if you don't change your mentality about your lifestyle. Okay? So I just wanted to throw that out there. Again, I'm not against it. I just need for you to be totally informed. Okay? Okay, so now let's talk about what you do about it. Okay? Number one, understand that in order to lose your back fat, you must lose fat everywhere. We don't get to pick and choose where the fat comes off first. So, and typically, in most situations, if you have underbra fat, you have more fat than you're supposed to all over your body anyway. All over your body anyway. It's very rare that I meet a young lady who does not, or even a man, who does not have some type of diagnosed metabolic issue, who is smaller, or has less body fat, and then still has the underbra fat, or still has the upper back fat. Not that I've never seen it, but it's very rare. So typically, if you have that underbra fat, you probably have additional fat all over your body anyway that you need to get rid of. And so the first thing you need to do is change your mentality about this spot reduction. You must understand that in order to get rid of the back fat, you must get rid of your fat everywhere, okay? And in order to get rid of your fat everywhere, you must change the way that you are eating. This is going to be what, week 6? You all have been with me here for a while. For those of you who have been watching these Monday through Friday at 12 noon, you should probably have already known that that was the first thing that I was going to ask you to do. Okay? So you must change the way that you eat. And I know that, again, when we listen to these videos, when we watch these things, we are looking for the miracle. What's the miracle food that I can eat? What's the miracle exercise that I can do? But there's a foundational set of core principles that do not change. You must change the way that you eat. If you are eating a diet that is high in refined sugars, high in processed foods, and it's totally unbalanced, which means that you're eating way too many carbs. Oh, you're welcome, Epi. Thank you for joining me. Thank you so much. She says, I have the food change has been implemented. Thank you so much, Tyra. I like that. So if that's your current eating plan, no, whether we are talking about back fat or leg fat or underarm fat or foot fat or butt fat or ankle fat, if you don't change how you eat and start eating more balanced meals, it will not change. You will get temporary results and the fat will come back. Okay? If you want to know about about how to eat better meals, how to plan your meals, how to get those meals, Tamisha says, when can sugar from fruit become too much? Okay, I'm gonna get to that. And if I don't get to that, Tamisha, type it again. Okay, so if you want to know about balanced meals, grab that infographic, totally free, asufit.com/4busyprofessionals. It tells you exactly how to do it without counting calories and how to fit that into your lifestyle based on your body type. Again, that's asufit.com/4busyprofessionals. Now, to get to Tamisha's question, when can sugar from fruit become too much? So that, in most situations, is only an issue if you are eating more servings of fruit than you should on a daily basis. So I have heard of people going on an all fruit fast, which is not necessarily a bad thing. However, if you are coming from a lifestyle where you're eating too many sugars already, and then you immediately decide that you're going to go into an all fruit fast, that's a bad idea. Because your blood sugar is already high most of the time. And then adding that fruit, I mean, the fruit is definitely not going to be as high as, you know, the regular diet, but you're still not balancing it. So it is about balance. What I will say, however, is that if you are not an athlete who competes and is judged on your aesthetics, meaning if you're not a bodybuilder or anything like that, that should not be much of your concern. Get 2 to 3 servings in a day of whatever fruit it is that you like, and you should be just fine. You should be just fine. Now, since we are on the subject of fruit, it is also important to understand, for those of you who like to juice or who make your own juices, it's also important for you to understand that when you juice a fruit, you do release more access to the sugar content. And if you are juicing the fruit and removing the fiber, meaning that you are removing the pulp, you have a lot more access to the sugar content. And so what I would suggest is, if you want to incorporate juicing, if you are coming from a lifestyle of unbalanced meals, very high carbs, lots of sugar, lots of processed foods, and you want to incorporate juicing, I would suggest that you juice and leave the pulp so that you can get the additional fiber, which kind of creates a little bit of a barrier between you and the excess sugar. Okay, so I want to throw that out there. I hope that answered your question, Tamisha. Let me know if it did. If it didn't, please let me know, and I'll try to definitely expound upon that. Okay. All right. So that's number 1. That was actually number 1 and number 2. Number 3, you want to make sure that you start moving that area. One of the reasons why fat has accumulated there is because it's lazy. You don't work it. And when a muscle group is lazy and you don't work it, you basically tell your fat, hey, you tell your body, hey, I don't use this that much. So any extra fat that you need to store, just kind of stick it right there, because, you know, I'm not really going to be using it much anyway. So you want to incorporate exercises that help that area. I have a lot of conversations with a lot of people about what I do. And it's funny to me when I see women who complain about their underbra fat And then they come to the gym and all I ever see them do is cardio. I don't know how that's supposed to work. Right? Because if you get on the treadmill or the Stairmaster, you're working your body, yes, and it's great for your cardiovascular system, yes, but you're still telling your body that I don't really use that much. So you need to incorporate exercises that force you to work that area as well. It says, I eat lots of fruits and veggies, but I want to make sure I don't overdo it. Very little carbs. Okay, so important to understand, Tamisha, that your fruits and your vegetables do count as carbs. Okay, they do count as carbs. So maybe what you're saying is that you don't eat a lot of starchy carbs, which is totally fine. The biggest thing is going to be making sure that you're balancing. And if you're eating lots of fruits and vegetables, that's awesome. Also make sure that you are eating enough protein, because here's kind of how it works. And this is not a very professional or scientific explanation, but I want to break it down for you a little bit, okay? So you've got carbs and protein, and they hang out right inside the body. So here's everybody's job. The job of the carb is to help get the protein to the muscle. Hey Whitney, how are you? Thank you for joining me this afternoon. The job of the carb is to help take the protein to the muscle. Okay? If you have way too much protein and not enough carbs, how's your protein going to get where it's supposed to go? And if you have way too many carbs and not too many protein, not enough protein, what are the carbs supposed to do? It's kind of like when you have this little kid and the kid is like super duper smart, but you don't give the kid anything to do, and you're just like, you throw a whole bunch of smart kids into a room and you're just like, whatever. When you come back to the room, they're going to have torn that whole place up because you did not give them anything to do. It is the same thing. So if you're taking in lots of fruits and vegetables, which is awesome, make sure that you are balancing that with enough protein so that your carbs have something to do and your muscles can get what it is that they need. Leaning towards a raw foods lifestyle. Okay, awesome, I got you. Thanks for explaining that. Totally makes sense. But make sure that you're getting enough protein, because everything in life is about balance. Okay? All right, so let's get to some exercises, okay? So remember, you got to move that area. If you have issues with back fat, please do not let me catch you in the gym doing 35 hours of cardio. I don't know who told women that being a cardio bunny is okay, but that's not how any of this works. Okay, so here's some exercises. Swimming is amazing for the back fat. Oh, you're welcome, Tamisha. Amazing for the back fat, because you've got to understand that what's happening now. Remember last week when we talked about abdominals and we did that video about why you can't see your abs, and I told you that there were 4 different muscle groups and that all 4 of these groups pull against each other and you got to work all of them in order to see the results that you want. It's the same thing with your back. So when you are swimming, you are pulling in so many different parts of your back muscles, and everybody's being used, everybody's being worked out, everybody's getting that additional resistance, and your body now knows, oh, okay, you use all of that stuff. Well, let me start developing that stuff so that you can continue to use it. So swimming is a great exercise. Your rows, so those can be your one-armed dumbbell rows or your two-handed barbell rows, your seated rows, the lat pull down, so that machine that you see when people are pulling down, so the lat pull downs, that helps as well. Now pull-ups. I know that for a lot of us, pull-ups are very much a challenge. Pull-ups are extremely a challenge for me, especially right now because I've got something going on with my shoulder, so I've actually got to get some adjustments going on now. But if you cannot do pull-ups on your own, it's totally fine. If your fitness facility has an assisted pull-up machine, then use it. If your facility has an assisted pull-up machine, then use it. And a lot of people don't like to use the assisted pull-up machine because they're so concerned and it's embarrassing and blah, 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 blah. I promise you, as much as we think other people care about what we're doing in the gym, they don't. And the ones who do probably don't look like what you want to look like anyway. Okay? So if there is an assisted pull-up machine, make sure that you are using that. Also, your resistance bands. If you take, I don't have any resistance bands with me today. I'm gonna pull this jump rope and kind of demonstrate a little bit. It says I have one that I use at home. Awesome. Oh, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for joining me, Carrie. Okay, so this is a jump rope, but I'm gonna pretend like this is a resistance band. Obviously, it's not. But even doing exercises where you hold the resistance band out so my arms are totally straight and you just pull, which I can't do, so I'm just gonna pretend, but you're pulling. Right now, I can literally, even though this is a jump rope, I can feel this in my upper and my middle back, okay? So even resistance band exercises. So if you don't have a gym membership or a personal trainer, resistance bands are, I mean, you can get a box of bands for what, 20 bucks, I think? $20, $25. So and they come in different weights and in different styles of resistance, different colors and all of that. So even just using the resistance bands, because it's all about getting that area active so that your body knows that you are using it. Okay? Now, remember earlier when I told you that one of the reasons why you might have that underbra fat is because, you know, you got bad posture. So these muscles are really, really strong and these muscles are really, really weak. And okay, so the idea though is that you've got to work your opposing muscle groups, because everybody pulls against each other, right? So if this muscle group is pulling this way and this muscle group is pulling that way, you've got nice posture and everybody is nice and tight. So as you are working your back, make sure that you're also working your chest, and you can do that with chest flies. If you don't have access to a gym, if you don't have equipment at home, drop down and do some military style push-ups. And that will help to work those opposing muscle groups so that they're pulling against each other and you can get those nice results that you are looking for, okay? So I know that was a lot of information. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions, comments, screams of fury and pain? Anything that I have talked about today with regard to your underbra fat? Who's got questions? Who's got questions? Who's got questions? Who's got questions? Hey, 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 hey. Okay, so remember tomorrow we're talking about lower back fat too, because that tends to be an issue, because that's, you kind of get the saddle bags here on the side and the back, and you can't wear some of the shirts that you want to wear. Oh, you're welcome, Consuela. I'm glad that this was helpful. Thank you. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. I really appreciate it. Does anybody have any questions? Don't forget, remember when I was telling you about making sure that you're changing your diet, you can download that infographic. It's at asufit.com/4busyprofessionals, and it shows you a very simple hand method. There's a lot of information in there, but there's a simple hand method that you can use to make sure that you are portioning your carbs, your proteins, your fats, to make sure that you are portioning all of those things out properly for your body type and for your lifestyle. So make sure that you grab that if you have not already grabbed that. Anybody have any questions? Any questions? See? And I think I've answered everything that came up so far. I think I have. If you come up with any questions, if you happen to watch this video later, or if you listen to it on podcasts, whatever the situation may be, you can always come back and type those questions in, or those comments or those concerns, because I do go back periodically and check all of the other videos and all the other podcasts to see if anybody has made any comments. So if you have any comments, or if you have any questions or anything that comes up, then you can always come back here and leave those here, okay? So a couple of things: grab that infographic if you have not already done it. If you are in the city of Houston, thank you so much for those hearts, Tamisha. I really appreciate it. If you are in the city of Houston, my Butts, Guts, and Guns class is still open. You can sign up for that at asufit.com/BG2, the number 2. Catch me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at A Stronger You, ASTRONGER, the letter U. And you can also find this stuff on soundcloud.com/ASUFit. I'm a little bit behind on uploading some of the stuff, but we'll make sure that it gets up. There's plenty up there for you to listen to now, but I'll make sure that the rest of the stuff gets uploaded. Okay, so thank you all for joining me today. Thank you so much for your likes, your comments, your hearts, your shares. I really appreciate you taking this time. Remember, you can find me here every Monday through Friday at 12 noon Central Standard Time. This week's topic is all about back fat. So 12 noon Central Standard Time, invite your friends. I'm going to be here, okay? I love you all, and until we speak again, stay strong, stay beautiful, and always work towards becoming a stronger you. Peace out.